Oh, good. We've got Robin from Stamford, Connecticut. We've got people from the Philippines, Harrisburg, Texas, Canada, New York, another Texas, Canton, Ohio. We got a lot of Canadians. Arizona. Oh, Arizona. They were open, they were closed. Craziness. Same with Sacramento, Santa Barbara. We've got from the United Kingdom. Yay. Thank you so much. Where do you live in the United Kingdom? I went to school there. We've got someone from Melbourne, Australia.
Wow.
Nashville, Tennessee. This is awesome. This is just thrilling, you guys. We love that you've joined us. And hi, Lisa Kelly. I volunteered for you numerous years ago for numerous years in Texas. And now you're in Atlanta. Yay. Well, now you know where you are? You're on the screen, baby. We all are on the screen, driving us a little crazy. Oh, look, in Suffolk. Oh, this is just awesome. It's very exciting. Now, we run a 45-minute webinar. It's short, it's sweet. We kind of get to the point. We try to dive in. We're going to be taking an in-depth look at how we will respond to our active agers once we reopen into our facility. Please know, everybody, we're recording this. We're going to be putting it up tomorrow evening, tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon. If there's any links we talk about, anything you want to know, we're going to make sure that we include them so you will be able to download it at your leisure. Adam, would you do me a favor and turn off some of the cameras if you don't mind? We're going to also look at how are we going to integrate people in. The 50-year-olds, the 60-year-olds, 70, 80-year-olds market, at 90 going on. Kelly, you got a 90-plus-year-old at your personal training.
Yeah, I got a 95-year-old who was referred to me from a 91-year-old client.
Oh my God, I love it. And what type of programs are we going to be offering? What type of protocols can we use? What type of technology, oh dear Lord, works for this age bracket? Frankly, would work for my age bracket. Don't, of course, you're not missing this. So anyway, it's perfect for owners, managers, and directors. Please, again, if you came in just a little bit late, move your mouse, go down to the green share button at the bottom. Don't click it. I don't want to, don't share anything with me, but go to the left, that's your chat box, and click on it. And do me a favor, you can write your questions in, we would love, I've got amazing people. I've got Leslee Bender. She's been in the fitness industry over 28 years. She's director of I Am Ageless Now. She's the creator of the Bender Ball method, which won Fitness Infomercial of the Year. Colin Milner is the CEO of ICAA, which is the International Council on Active Aging. He comes to us from Canada. We're just thrilled to have him here. He's also a leading authority on health and wellness of the older adult market. He's been recognized by the World Economic Forum as one of, I love this, the most innovative and influential minds in the world on active aging. We're still wondering about your body, Colin, but we know the mind is there. All right. And then we've got, well,
the brain is okay.
The brain is okay. And his wife, Julie, who I just adore, says the body's okay too. All right. Keli Roberts is an ACSM CEP. She holds certifications from ACE, every single different type of format. She also is our beloved faculty member for our personal training certification, our #1 certification. And she also just wrote a program design certification that's perfect for personal trainers, small group trainers, and large group trainers. And she also leads our active aging certification. She is awesome. She's an esteemed inductee of the National Fitness Hall of Fame. So I'm starting with you, Kelly, because you were the last one, and she's wearing a pretty dress, and the rest of us are hiding that we're wearing shorts and tennis shoes under all this. How should we approach our facilities How should we approach the opening of our facilities to active agers? What type of programming, what type of facilities or equipment do you think we need to look for?
Well, it's going to vary state to state because I'm in California, I'm in Los Angeles, and we opened briefly and then we closed again because there was a big flare up of the virus. I think we have to create a very safe environment for them in terms of creating that social spacing. At Equinox, when we reopened, we checked temperature, you had to wear a mask, gloves. There was prescribed equipment that you could use. You couldn't just use anything. They had a step, dumbbells, and gliding, and that was the only equipment we were allowed to use in the group fitness room. It was a challenge. I think I've found that a lot of my clients are not weren't interested in coming back. They're staying virtual. I'm seeing one of my clients in his backyard outside and maintaining social distance and wearing masks. But the rest of them, they don't want to come back. I'm training them virtually, and they are actually really enjoying it and getting a lot out of it. And I'm enjoying it. I think it would be better face to face, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's a very difficult transition for people, and I think our older adults now. Can you share with us the age group that you're training? I know you're training some boomers, but I know you just said a 95-year-old, a 91-year-old. What type of equipment are you using, and how in the world did you upskill them so that they could handle the technology?
Well, the 91-year-old and the 95-year-old both got their family to help them learn how to do FaceTime. So we're doing FaceTime with them, which is pretty simple. I usually recommend that they get some kind of stand for their phone so that they can position, because I found the crazy thing is the biggest challenge is getting them to put their device so you can see them. It's like, no, I can see your shoulder. I see the tip of your head. No, I can see your leg. But so positioning the device so that you can see as much of them as possible is part of the challenge. So get a phone holder, an iPad holder, maybe get some help from the family to learn how to use the technology. And then with some of my clients, with my 78-year-old client, I gave her some equipment. I dropped it off in a bag, a bender ball, thank you, Leslie, some gliding discs, some resistance bands. She had some dumbbells. For my 95-year-old, it's a chair and soup cans and some dumbbells, and that's about it, body weight. My 91-year-old she's frail, so it's just a chair. So she's actually pretty frail. She's not in. The 95-year-old is amazing.
Well, that's fantastic. And Colin, obviously you work with independent health clubs, boutique studios, but you're very involved with retirement communities. And what are you seeing coming across in those venues?
Well, I think, number one is, many of them are struggling. They're trying to figure out what to do. And to help with that, ICAA actually created a COVID-19 task force of about 160 thought leaders. And coming back to your very first question that you asked, if that was one of their first questions, is how do we make the environment safe? What people have been doing is they've been engaging designers, operations teams, infectious control people to do a charrette of what the ideal facility would look like now and moving forward. And I think what you're going to see over the next few months and years to come is a much greater emphasis on the well building. And I think that that's what they're trying to create right now, is a safe well billing, whether it is managing, air filtration systems, air quality, managing to reduce airborne viral transmissions. It's all about safety. I think one of the things that we've got to be careful of is that we don't go to the degree that I've seen some people do, where you're trying to build this little shed that people can go into, because what happens with all the cleaning when that person is finished? You have to go in and clean that whole thing. So what we're seeing is, people are challenged, but there's a lot of, optimism as far as this is an opportunity to actually change an industry. And that's not just in the senior living sector, that's in all the different sectors.
And that's what you were mentioning before we came onto the webinar. You were saying that, we've all talked about this, that we're going to, after this pandemic, we're never going to be the same. They always talk about the new normal. There is no normal. It's like at week to week, what's changing? For a while there, everything was free on Facebook because we thought this thing was going to end at Easter. At least that's what Donald Trump told us, okay? We believe everything Donald Trump said. Okay, so sorry about that. I'll shut up about politics. But we're going to have this hybrid situation. And Keli, kudos to you that you helped work with those clients to make sure that they could stay on at 91 and 95 years old with the technology. And then Colin, you mentioned you also believe there's going to be a hybrid model.
Well, I think we're going to have no choice because of, the current situation, social distancing. As an example, if a club or a wellness center in a retirement community could hold 200-300 people, now it's maybe 100-150 people. So, what do you do with the other people who have paid to take advantage of those services? The hybrid model of delivering both in person and online in conjunction with each other is here. And the funny part is, we've been talking about for the last decade, everything's going to be online. Amazon is great. We're buying everything online. Now we're online. We're all complaining that we need in person. So we need to make up our minds. But the reality is, I think it's going to be both.
But our hope is that we don't need to make up our minds.
Exactly.
That we will have accessibility to both. And Leslee, you raised your hand.
Yeah, one of the things that, of course, Florida, we are back open at some studios are at full capacity. But what I think, Sarah, that we are going to start seeing, and everyone that's watching, is that studios, I think, are going to start making a surge, because at the end of the day, like the Pilates studios, we are only seeing, 10 students, and we have actually mapped out that it's 6 feet 5 inches between each reformer. We've shortened our classes to 40-45 minutes, so there's cleaning in between. A specific air filtration system has been implemented as well at the studio. And what I love, honestly, is people are starting to come back, because we are, what clubs can do, or I should say studios can do, is offer virtual classes as well. So we're actually, we're doing both. There's a virtual membership, but there's also, the live membership as well. So
now, we got a great question from Margaret. She says, do you think it will come to doing a live class, like an in-person class, and a virtual class at the same time? Can you be teaching your class and also filming it and streaming it at the same time? Are you doing that yet, Leslee?
I have been doing some. That's a great question. It's really hard to do that on apparatus because, at a Pilates studio, we're primarily apparatus. So I would say with that question, for example, if, you knew that a student had a reformer at home, that would be very, very wonderful, because it's very much engaging that they are on the piece of equipment as well as the other students, kind of like a virtual indoor cycling class, if that makes sense. But not that many people have reformers at home. So that makes it a little bit of a challenge. But I do think as far as mat classes, because a lot of people, unless they're going to a large fitness facility, are not necessarily doing like mat Pilates exercises in a studio because they're paying to come in and be on a reformer. So, but we have found that it kept our members really engaged by offering like reformer on the mat, which is utilizing gliding discs and the bender ball and tubing. So at least they had something that they could do so that they didn't lose everything. Because I'm sure, Kelly, and you've noticed, Sarah, too, is that people that are coming back, they've walked and they've done other activities like gardening and things of this nature. But if they're used to doing a certain genre of training like Pilates, and they come back, we've really lowered the level of our classes so that those coming back can actually come back safely rather than feeling like they have to jump in and go, oh my gosh, I'm going to kill myself because I haven't been doing anything.
But that's what's happening. That you know, what programming should we offer to this market, to our active agers? And the problem is many of them have been sitting on the couch for 3 months and they've been terrified to go outside. I know, like, I have a friend who lives in New York City. She couldn't go out of her apartment. Literally could not go out of her apartment because at least at the beginning, it was so intense. They didn't know what to do. And it's not so much the space in your home. It's not so much the space in your club or your group fitness room. It's those transition spaces. When we were looking at doing conferences and how are we going to manage this, I can fit the people in the room, but in the hallways and in the expo, how am I going to keep that 6-foot distance? Something that I think we also should look at is the programming you mentioned was Pilates and yoga, and something that is not cardio based in a group setting, because it's a respiratory disease. And what we are concerned about is people think, oh, I shouldn't go, I'm going to be sweating. It's not the sweat that shares this. This is not like AIDS. You can't get it from sweat, all right? This is a respiratory disease, and we need to think, like you talked about, the filtration systems, which are so important. What other programming, like the strength training, a modified basic exercise program, Pilates, yoga. We had a wonderful question for someone who talked about Zumba, that Zumba was a great program. They have Zumba Gold, and it's wonderful. People can do this out of their home. How do you anticipate people filming a live class for active agers, and also welcoming people back to the studios, because we do want to go back desperately and we have to reserve our spaces for that, but then also filming it simultaneously so they can watch it at home as well. Kelly, you said you were at Equinox. Were they starting to do that?
No, they weren't, but another club that I teach for, Breakthrough Fitness in Pasadena, has created a whole virtual membership. And I've been teaching for them virtually a couple of times a week since we closed, since March.
And though it's really nice for health facilities to have a streaming model, so there can be a price for both live membership and streaming, a price for live only, a price for streaming only. And then there is a choice that goes on here. I will share with you guys that SCW started streaming our certifications, Kelly, I think you remember, in early October, and we continued in December, and we continued into February, where we had a camera person there filming the live. And a lot of our presenters were terrified that, oh my gosh, we're going to get fewer attendees because they're going to we're going to get fewer live people because they're all going to stream. But it actually grew the live attendance and the streaming attendance. So don't be afraid of combining the two. Somebody was talking about that. Somebody also teaches Sit and Fit. Colin, what other programs do you see coming down the pike here that are going to be successful?
I think one of the things is that provides a wonderful opportunity for any fitness professional. And, you know, this March was my 40th year in the fitness business. So, you know, I think I've had 2 children's worth of being in the industry, or 2 20-year-olds worth of being in the industry. And, you know, I think what we have is an opportunity to expand our programming, to look more at a wellness-related model, because people are going to be coming out of this when we come out of it, you know, and they already are there with mental health issues, depression. They're going to be challenged cognitively, especially older adults that maybe have been in a lockdown situation for months on end, and lack of social connections. So I think, you know, looking at a multidimensional wellness model will not only expand your potential revenue base, but also expand the type of clients that you will come in. Do you have some fun and actually start learning how to cook yourself with a cook and have people tune in? You know, I mean, not just focus on one dimension, because I think that right now where we are will limit you as far as what people are looking for. People are looking for multiple experiences.
And I agree with you that it's not just about the fitness. We were sharing with you that we did this. We finished our first live stream mania in May, and then we finished another one in July. We're doing our third at the end of August, and it's, I mean, at the end of this month, and we got all these reviews. We had about 900 people responded to a survey the first time, and then over 500 the second time. Number one trend in the industry is training active aging. Number 2 was nutrition. And I love your integrating how do we eat. It's a whole immunity package we're trying to build for people. Leslee, you were raising your hand?
Yeah. Well, it's a segue into part of the reason that I created the I Am Ageless program now, is it combines all of that. It's myofascial work, it's mantras, it's movement, it's healthy eating, and we're in the final stages of our book, I Am Ageless Now. The program is basically, it's an online program, but basically, Sarah, I mean, it really, I think it took a knee replacement, which a lot of people know that I'm about 6 months out of a total knee replacement. And for me, it was really the catalyst to say, all right, how can I take care of myself at 60, you know, and if I want to live as long as Kelly's clients and Colin's clients, and live a life of pain management and be happy. And I think, you know, something good came out of having my knee done, because it really forced me to sit down and say, how can I help others? How can I serve others and help them, you know, other trainers and even practitioners add in a wellness program that is based on science. The whole program is based on science. And I think, you know, working with PTs and doctors, the main physician of Orlando Health is on board with this program. So for me, I think, especially for trainers that are listening and watching this right now, one of the most important things we can do is that positive reinforcement for our clients, and let them know we are going to get through this. We're going to get through this together. And, you know, we've been given this opportunity to start making healthier choices, both in exercising and or nutrition. And I've got a client who actually, you know, turned to alcohol. And since he's been with me now, he's about 70 years old. I got him back on the water today skiing, and he cried. And he said, you know, I know that I need to give up, you know, these bad habits that I've taken on because of stress. And he said, because of you, I'm going to do it. So all of you that are watching or playing a huge role in changing people's lives right now. We all are. So it's wonderful that you're having this, Sarah, that we can, you know, share our thoughts here on how we're doing things.
And I enjoy, people are really contributing to the chat box, talking about fall prevention, balance training, cognitive training. Again, it's almost like, you know, a cornucopia of wellness opportunities for our active agers. And I love these ideas. And somebody said, how are you building a virtual family? And I will tell you that when I do the webinars, I've gotten to know people, and I love these webinars because I'm seeing human beings and I'm hearing them talk, and it feels like we're really connected. Someone said, make sure to check out Leslee's functional Pilates training program that you have. And it's not specially focused for active agers, but oh my gosh, it's just so applicable. And what is the foundation, Leslie? How did you come up with that?
The functional Pilates, which by the way is in a couple of weeks, and I'd love you to join me for that. It's taking, because at the end of the day, we're sitting over our computers, no matter what age we are, so we're starting to notice bad posture in a lot of people. So I invite you all to sit up nice and tall, please. And it's all based on vertical movements in Pilates training, and really working with clients on teaching them better alignment, better movement, better balance, all these cognitive skills that we need as no matter what age we are. Let's put it that way. So it's an awesome program.
And what type, you know, if we get trained on these programs, we were, again, before the webinar, we're talking about the different certifications, because, you know, are certifications increasing? Are they decreasing? How are we managing this? Because we can't go to a certification. A lot of them are streaming, and people are really focusing on being safe and effective. Now, the clubs used to require us to be certified and maintain our certifications for insurance purposes. And we don't have that as much anymore, but we're still finding that people are focusing on this, maintaining their certifications. And which I think the quality assurance for our clients, the quote, a focus on safe and effectiveness, is very important. What type of marketing approaches, and I'm going to ask you, Keli, you've got a couple clients that have stuck with you. You know, one of them has recommended, you know, others to you. How did you maintain your connection? Your clubs are closed again.
I'm busy with virtual clients. I'm seeing, you know, I've probably several sessions a week with different clients, and they're all between the ages of 56 to 95. And I've had a lot of referrals, actually. I think if you create a great experience and you get that connection, even if it's a virtual connection, people will want to train with you and they will recommend you. So I usually give a break on the next session fee if someone refers me and they buy sessions with me, to encourage them to refer clients to me. But I think referrals and retentions are all about the experience. Everyone I've trained, I've been training for years, and they've recommended other clients to me. And since we've been closed down, I started training 2 new people who I've never seen face to face.
Wow. And it's that those recommendations, those referrals that have really helped you. And, you know, for those of you that are watching the webinar, you have to open your mouth and you have to say to clients, if you have anyone else that you would like to refer to me, please do so. I would greatly appreciate it. Right, Keli?
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, no, I ask for referrals, and I say, if you, you know, and if your person signs up with me, I'll I'll give you a free session. I actually offer a free session if they sign up.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's the way you secure through the quality to keep them. Now, I remember we were talking about this on another webinar of how did you, you're isolated. Everybody thinks everything's going to end in like 3 weeks and we're all going to be back in the health club. Weeks and weeks and weeks later, you realize I don't have an email list. I don't have a cell phone list. I have these people that need me and I don't know how to reach them. How did you connect? What approaches did you take?
I'm using a fair bit of social media. So the older adult is not necessarily on social media. Some of them are, but mostly everything I've been doing is through retention and referral. So I've always had very good retention because I give people a great experience. I get results with my clients. I really make a difference in their lives, and they refer me as a result of that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Colin, what do you think is a great marketing approach to attract these clients? Because some of us have just, been kind of waiting and waiting for our clubs to open.
Pray. That's it. Pray. Everybody pray. No, so here's the reality, and that is that, as Keli said, many of the older adults are not in TikTok. They're not in some of these really funky social media sites, but they are on Facebook. They are the dominant force in Facebook. So if you're going to actually use social media and you're going to focus your effort on on Facebook, but also understand who your customer is. There are no two people who age the exact same way or at the exact same rate. So, what has challenged the fitness industry for so many years has been a one-size-fits-all approach. So I think that, the more you can be highly focused on who you want to serve and offer personalized services, not personal training, but personalized services, so that it is all about them. Nowadays, you can also bring in technology to assist with that, whether it's simple things like wearables or DNA testing or what have you, to hone in on what someone's goal is and how they're going to actually achieve it. So that's one. But, I think the other thing is to understand we're in business and we actually need to take it seriously as business. So what does a business need? Customers. To get those customers, you have to reach out to those customers. You have to sell those customers. When I was 21, I remember, I was a weight training instructor when it was called that, at $4 an hour. And, I refused to sell. And the owner came up to me and he said, nothing will ever happen until someone takes action and joins to participate. So I think that we need to become a little bit more actively engaged in our own futures. And a lot of times we become very passive, but as do exhibitors who are at trade shows, just expecting people to walk by and say hi and I'm going to buy your product. And, just reaching out, as Keli has said, reaching out to her customers, referrals, and also to new people. But you have to have something that they're interested in. And whatever you do, realize that they're all going to be different and don't call them seniors.
Yeah, very good. Very wise.
My 108-year-old grandmother, by the way, talks about those old people, not her.
That's wonderful. My own kids talk about me that way, but yeah, that's kind of the way it is. But it's, we lose the face-to-face, so we have to figure out how to connect. Do not be afraid to post on Facebook. I had a very wise person, I think it was Jeff Howard, said to me, he finally put in some of his posts, please share this with your friends. And he gets younger clients, he gets a lot of older clients as well, because they're all on Facebook and Instagram looking at pictures of their grandchildren and communicating with their families. It's getting to be, really, happenstance. It's happening all the time, which is really nice to see. Somebody is asking about insurance and liability releases. And this is pretty scary for all of us at some point, because, we're training them, we're personally training them, and yet I can't control you. If you seem to be lifting a weight that's too heavy, I can't reach through the camera and grab it and say, no, you picked up the wrong weight. I was talking about the other one, if they're not paying attention. I'm a very big believer in informed consent forms and waivers of liability, but it's very hard if you're training them through FaceTime or through Facebook Live, things like that, where they don't have to literally check in and sign a waiver of liability. So it's almost like a verbal release of, I just want you to know you all are exercising at your own risk, and then boom, you just kind of go in. But we will connect the waiver. Adam, I'll ask Adam to make sure we connect our SCW waiver that we've been giving out to everybody. I do not practice law in Canada. I love Canadians. They're pretty good at hockey. I don't know what the legal situation is there.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Oh, please. Oh, please. I was watching last night. All right. Anyway, but we've got, so I'll include the waivers, and I encourage everybody get insurance. I think it's important for all of us to get insurance. And if you're going to go back to training older adults, either outside, inside, under a tent, okay, wherever you're going, you need a special COVID release. All right. This, at first I thought, well, we'll do a general release, meaning, I agree I'm going to be exercising and I assume the risk of getting COVID-19, spraining my ankle, falling down, whatever, dying, whatever risk you're assuming. But you need a separate and independent COVID release, and we'll include that as well. And you need to check with your insurance policies if you're able to exercise outdoors and it's still covered. That's something that's important for us to do. Now, we do have some owners of facilities and owners and managers of retirement centers. What management strategies might be best for older adults? Like when they might enter a facility, how do we stay connected with them so they will come back and re-enter with us? Leslee, you're the one who's, you live in Orlando, you teach in Orlando, you stream, you do it all. How did the facility stay in contact, reach out to these people and stay connected to bring them back so they feel safe enough to come back?
Well, one of the owners has done a fantastic job at one of the studios where she reached out to everyone Facebook and also in person, and like other fitness facilities that you've all seen is that they wait outside, and we have an entry door and an exit door. So once class is finished, everyone filters through. We have the little squares where it can't be more than 6 feet apart. And I think they've done a brilliant job. And I really encourage any owners, I think, to let their students know and their clients know that we have done everything we can to keep you safe. And so being able to have people wait outside, mandatory when they enter a building, they have to have a mask on. When they sit down on the reformer, then they can take the mask off. And when we're finished, we really are the, we're the police that we herd them out one by one. And if they come in the wrong way, I've even made them walk out the building and come back in and said, nope, you didn't do it right. So, it's getting them conditioned to knowing that this is how it's done. But yet once they start doing it, they start to feel safer. And entering into each class. So I'm hoping I'm answering that question for you, Sarah, because I think what's happened, we're booked now. I mean, we are booked out, which is wonderful, but I think they're telling their friends, and their friends are telling their friends, by the way, it's a very safe environment. And I think that helps so much when a client tells another client, hey, you want to come back. You want to come back to this place.
See, that's great. And I know a very dear friend of mine, Ann Gilbert, actually wrote handwritten notes to all the clients. Now, it was, you're talking like 1,000 notes. So what she did, she got her instructors at home. She got the people that wash the towels, and for the club that used to wash the towels, some of the managers, everybody had to write personalized notes to people, which I thought, that's fantastic. I'll tell you what SCW has done to stay connected to a lot of our people: text messaging and phone calling, telemarketing. It's never been bigger, you guys. People are hungry to talk to somebody on a phone. It's been kind of crazy for our telemarketers. It usually allows us to make a certain number of phone calls every hour. That's been cut in half. You know why? People want to talk. They've been isolated. So think about those handwritten notes. Love those Facebook posts. Think about, trying to do any type of telemarketing and texting. Colin, can you talk about cognitive programming a little bit more? Angela has brought this up, and I think it's very important for us to obviously embrace the mind, but we can't forget, embrace the body, but we can't forget about the mind.
Hi, Angela. Great to see that you actually joined us. Angela was social media with me the other day. Should I come? Shouldn't I? Great to see you. I think one of the things that we need to look at, just like we do from the functional levels for fitness, is to look at who our customers are, who we are really capable of handling, and look at what their cognitive abilities are, and how do we actually create programs around that. I know that on our ICAA website at icaa.cc, there is a set of white papers all around programming for people with cognitive abilities from a wellness standpoint. So, the first thing is actually establishing who your customer is, and then, what kind of programs they are capable of doing and how you're going to interact with them. Especially right now when it's all online, how do you help someone remain engaged cognitively? Is it through brain games? Is it through, chats? Is it through gambling? No, don't use that one. What is it that, you want to use as your tool to connect with them? Is it learning, helping people to learn a new skill, just simply to keep their mind engaged? And I think that one word right there, 20 years ago when we launched the ICAA and it focused on active aging, our definition of active aging was being engaged in life. And being disengaged right now is coming with a great price. So how do you engage your customer? And, there's lots of ways. Bring their grandkids on and argue. It challenges their mind to, or debate or what have you. But remain engaged is probably the first and foremost thing. What kind of programs? There's so many, we could run out of time just listing them all.
And Keli, what are you doing to engage the mind of your participants? And also, how do you do a virtual health history form? Or how do you do a virtual testing of what type of exercises are appropriate? I mean, it's just like, we're so distant. I can't imagine that.
I do a Facebook meeting, a FaceTime meeting with them, some kind of virtual meeting with them before I train them. And I ask them lots and lots of questions. I send them by email the forms that I need filled out so that I know medications, health history, all of that kind of stuff. So I've got that in writing, as well as a waiver. And I get them to stand up, I get them to turn around, I get them to do, if they're capable, squats. I look at them squatting. I find out about what their daily life is. Like my 95-year-old cleans her own house and works in her garden. So she's exercised her whole life. She has no arthritis. She has no limitations at all. Just a slight, which she wasn't aware of. She has a vestibular problem on her left ear. The left ear's got a slight vestibular problem, and I found that out doing an assessment on her. So it means that when I'm working with her with balance, I'm being careful and cognizant of head turning and head tilting and looking up and down, because it gives her a little vertigo.
But it's interesting that you catch these things. Her physician didn't. She didn't even really wasn't aware of it. I'm going to be a little forward here because everyone knows how shy I am. Would you mind sharing some of your forms with the people on the webinar? We can post them.
I use the ACE Fitness Handbook, the business handbook. So
okay.
They've got an older adult one there, and a 4-page health history form that I scanned into my computer.
Wonderful. I know that I'll confirm with ACE it is fine. Obviously, you know, all the manias, all our certifications, all give continuing education through ACE. We work very closely with them. And I'll make sure, guys, that I get the approval, and we'll include those forms in the webinar tomorrow when we download the recording. We are really right now 1 minute over. So I would love you guys to share some resources. Leslee, I want you to share with us, if you wouldn't mind, about I Am Ageless Now. Colin, I'd love you to share a little bit more about the ICAA, and then Keli, of course, your certification. So I'm going to start with you, Leslee.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. Thank you for having me so much. It is www.IamAgelessNow.com. I Am Ageless Now. And it is definitely a new way to live, and we're seeing amazing results. So thank you for that.
Terrific. And Colin?
Well, I'll echo Leslie's thoughts. Thank you very much for having us. What I would recommend to people is, come to our conference. We do a conference, once a year, and it's a wonderful way to educate yourself in all the different things that are available, because what ICAA does is we focus on a wellness model that is just in the older adults. And whether it's, our website membership or the conference, it's all about, as you said, Sarah, education, whether it's a SCW or whoever, it's about education, keeping current, being relevant.
It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful event. And I was like so sad when I heard, it was canceled. And then I'm like, yay, he's going virtual. So this is great. So I really do encourage you guys. And Keli?
Well, I'm doing the SCW Active Aging certification coming up in a couple of weeks, and please join me. If you are interested in working with these populations, then you should arm yourself with as much information as possible. You cannot know too much. There is so much to learn, and it is the most rewarding group of people you will ever work with.
Yeah, it is always the best. Obviously, a lot of people know that I'm a big aqua person. I don't think you guys realize that the CDC, this is the United States Center for Disease Control, has documented that there is 6 times the strength needed to kill the coronavirus in a normally chemical pool with chlorine and bromine. This is bleach. You go in, you're in a vat of bleach. You dunk your little noodle in. It's a perfect workout. You've sterilized it. Okay, if you could just keep your 6 feet from people, It's a marvelous environment for everyone to work out in. So I'm going to end this with a lovely little video that we have. And if you guys will hang in there, here we go. I'm going to get this up for you. There we go, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Adam, I want to thank you so much for making this happen. Keli, Colin, Leslee, I am not worthy. You guys are the active aging gurus. Thank you all for joining us. We will be sending you an email at the end of the day tomorrow or earlier with the links that you all requested. So thank you for coming and have a good evening, everyone.